Here's another tip. Don't avoid joint session. Too often, in talking with counsel in advance of mediation, I'll hear people say, well, you know, we need to do this in caucus because, you know, we don't want anybody getting together, you know, even to get the thing started. They're just going to get pissed off at each other. They're going to get frozen in their positions. It'll just escalate things and we're never going to get this thing to settle. Sure, those things can happen, but there's a rich array of potential in joint session. When a mediator begins a joint session, it sends a message. We're all in this together. We're all people of goodwill. We're all people of understanding and capacity. And we can get this thing resolved. And the mediator's verbal and nonverbal messaging can help people get into a tone that is going to be much more productive. Sometimes you can learn things from a joint session. If you're a party, you've only heard about it from your counsel. Now the parties get a chance to hear about it from people on the other side of the table. The joint session can create an opportunity to build understanding. It can enable a claimant to share his or her frustration with people on the other side of the table and possibly get the benefit, the satisfaction of somebody listening and getting it. One can see what might happen if the matter were to go forward to trial, how this person presents that one might not have seen before. And the deal making can take place. And legal issues can actually even be discussed. And it doesn't necessarily mean that there are people who are going to be strategically disadvantaged as a result of that discussion. What I say to lawyers when I encourage them to think about that initial joint session is, listen, prepare yourself and your clients by knowing that the joint session is a chance to build towards deal making. It's a chance to move towards understanding. And prepare them to operate in a way that will do that. And the result is we'll have a constructive joint session. And sometimes the image of Ulysses strapped to the mast is a good way to convey this. You remember the story in the Odyssey coming back from the Trojan War. Ulysses and his men are on this boat and they're coming near the sirens, those beautiful, beautiful women with entrancing voices that drove men mad. The men would come to the shore after the sirens call and be dashed to death on the rocks. And Ulysses was deeply curious. He had his men stuff their ears with beeswax so they wouldn't be affected, but he had them tie him to the mast so that he could hear the sirens' song. And he did, and drove him crazy. But he learned something. He learned something from that siren song that he would not have experienced but for having put himself in a position where he endured the crazy making sound. And sometimes when we are in a joint session, we might be hearing stuff we don't like, stuff that's affecting us in a way that's causing all kinds of emotional reactions. But if we can endure it, different possibilities might emerge, a different understanding might emerge. And so this is a great image for representatives to share with their clients, and frankly, mediators share this with, or I share this with representatives and parties. It's a great image to keep in mind in the process.